Today we're going to make helping hands. Let's build that. The original idea came from I like to make stuff, but I wanted to make my own, so I figured I'd show you how I did it. So let's get started. The arms are made out of these flexible coolant hoses. They ended up being a little longer than I needed, so I broke them down to about 10 knuckles. I made 4 of these for the 4 different arms. I found these alligator clips, and I'm going to use those for the tips. They didn't quite fit into the tip of the hose, but they fit really well into the knuckle without any sort of glue, so I put 1 in each arm. To figure out how wide I needed to make my base, I bent the arm into the sharpest 90 degree I could and measured out how far apart they were when they touched each other. This turned out to be 14 inches. I then ripped 2 1.5 inch strips at a 3/4 inch maple. And I cut these both to 15 inches long. I then found the center measurement at 7.5 and measured 3/4 side. This will give me an 1.5 inch wide dado. I then set my table saw blade to 3/8 of an inch and then cut a dado between my 2 marks. Doing this to both pieces should make a lap joint that sits flush. I then measured 3/4 inch in to find the center point, and I went 3/4 inch in from the end. Using this mark, I could then drill a pilot hole as well as a 1/2 inch hole in the corner of each leg. This should accept the threads of my coolant hoses. I then drilled a pilot hole in between the cross, applied some glue, and then added a screw to keep these 2 pieces together. Once the glue was dry, I could remove the screw and use a round-over bit on my trim router to just take off all the sharp edges. Now I can reinstall the screw and attach all my arms. I put some wood glue on the threads of the pipes and then screwed them into the wood. I don't expect them to hold into the arm, but it should make some nice threads that'll grab the wood. Now I can make the magnifying glass. First I cut the handle to about 1 inch long. It just happened that this handle fit my hoses quite nicely. To connect my hose to the magnifying glass, I just filled it with hot glue and then inserted the hose into it. And then I set this aside to dry. While that was drying, I cut a 6 inch by 6 inch piece of 3/4 hardwood plywood. I could then mark out the center and drill another 1/2 inch hole. Once the hot glue was dry, I could then add some glue to the threads of my arm and thread it into the plywood. As I said before, I don't think the glue will hold onto the plastic, but it should make some nice threads that hold to the wood, and I can remove these arms if I have to. And that completes the helping hands. I made mine a little bit shorter so that it would fit nicely in this rig and not get too close to the camera. If you want to see how I made this rig, it'll be in the end card. So these work really well for just any sort of soldering project, and I'm sure I can find some other uses for it, but I mainly made this one for soldering so that I could tin up some wires as well as hold components and wires and solder. And it's just nice having an extra helping hand, hence the name of the products. So this actually worked out pretty good, and the magnifying glass worked well. It doesn't quite work as good in camera, but for me it really magnified it, and like I said, on camera it doesn't really seem like it, but it did definitely help, so that's going to be a great advantage. So all in all, these are great things to make for this soldering box project, and these are all a combination of things that I'm going to need for my next upcoming project. So I hope you liked it. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel UNI DIY. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next project.